Have you ever brushed off a little fatigue, a bit of numbness, or blurry vision, thinking it was nothing? What if I told you that those everyday annoyances could be the first warning signs of a disease that affects nearly 3 million people worldwide? And yet, most don't even realize it until it's too late. Multiple sclerosis, or MS, is not a distant problem. It could be happening in your body right now, quietly stealing years of strength and independence. The terrifying part. By the time many people catch it, the damage is already done. But here's the hope: you don't have to be caught off guard. In this video, we're going to uncover the hidden early symptoms of MS that most doctors say are missed in the beginning, and we'll give you the knowledge to spot them before they spiral out of control. Stay with me, because knowing just one of these signs could make the difference between living in fear and taking back control of your future health. Let's start with one of the most unsettling early signs: tremors. Picture this: you're at your kitchen table in the morning, reaching for your cup of coffee, and suddenly your hand begins to shake uncontrollably. You try to laugh it off, but deep down you know this isn't just nerves or stress. For many people living with multiple sclerosis, tremors aren't an occasional inconvenience, they're a daily battle. Scientists explain that these involuntary shakes often come from damage to the cerebellum, the part of your brain responsible for coordination. Once the immune system attacks the protective myelin around your nerves, the communication between your brain and muscles starts to short circuit, leaving even simple tasks like writing, buttoning a shirt, or holding silverware frustratingly difficult. A recent study revealed that around 1 in 3 people with MS experience tremors, sometimes so severe they disrupt independence. And here's what you can do if you ever notice this. Keep a journal of when the shaking happens, track patterns, and bring it to your doctor. The earlier this is discussed, the faster you can get help managing it. But just recognizing tremors isn't enough, because the next sign can hit you like an electric shock through your spine, and most people never see it coming. And that brings us to the next red flag, what many describe as a sudden jolt of electricity racing down the spine. Imagine you tilt your head forward, maybe while scrolling on your phone or tying your shoes, and out of nowhere it feels like a bolt of lightning shoots from your neck straight down your back. This isn't just a quirky nerve reaction. In multiple sclerosis, it's known as Lermit's sign, a warning that the protective myelin on your spinal cord nerves has been damaged. When that myelin is stripped away, the electrical impulses misfire like faulty wiring in a house, and the simple motion of bending your neck can trigger shock-like sensations through your body. Doctors emphasize this is not just a fleeting annoyance. It's a major clue that MS is affecting the cervical spine. In fact, research published in 2024 linked Lermit's sign directly to abnormalities in the spinal cord's dorsal columns, which are critical for carrying sensory information. If you've ever felt this kind of electric jolt, especially if it happens more than once, don't brush it off, write it down, and bring it up to your neurologist. Early recognition matters because these shocks are your body's way of saying something deeper is happening. But here's the real kicker: MS doesn't just cause shocks. For many, it brings an entirely different kind of suffering: relentless, chronic pain that refuses to go away. Now let's talk about something even more draining: chronic pain. Picture this: you're sitting at your desk, trying to focus on work, but a sharp stabbing pain suddenly shoots through your leg. Or maybe it's a constant burning in your back that never seems to let up, no matter how much you rest. For many people with multiple sclerosis, pain isn't a side effect. It's a direct consequence of the disease-disrupting nerve pathways. And the reality is sobering. A 2023 study found that about 6 out of 10 MS patients live with ongoing pain, and nearly 1 in 3 suffer from neuropathic pain, the kind linked directly to nerve damage. This isn't just physical, it wears you down mentally too, leading to more fatigue, mood changes, and a lower quality of life. What makes this even worse is that many patients never receive proper pain management, leaving them to suffer in silence. But here's what you can do if you notice pain that feels unusual or lingers for days, Don't assume it's just stress or age. Keep track of when it happens, what triggers it, and ask your doctor specifically about neuropathic pain. There are medications, therapies, and lifestyle adjustments that can make a real difference. And if pain feels overwhelming, wait until you hear about the next symptom. It can rob you of your energy completely, even when you think you've had enough rest. And if pain wasn't enough, fatigue can hit even harder. Imagine waking up after a full night's sleep, thinking you're ready to take on the day, only to feel like you've been carrying a 100-pound weight on your shoulders before you even get out of bed. This isn't just normal tiredness. It's what many people with multiple sclerosis describe as a crushing, invisible exhaustion that makes daily life feel impossible. Doctors call it MS-related fatigue or lassitude, and it's unique because it isn't tied to how much you sleep or how active you are. It comes from the disease itself. When the immune system damages the myelin around your nerve fibers and disrupts the brain's communication network, a 2024 study using advanced brain imaging showed that MS fatigue is linked to changes in the thalamus and prefrontal cortex, the areas that control energy and mood. That means even on days when your other symptoms seem manageable, this fatigue can still shut you down. If you notice that your energy collapses for no clear reason and doesn't improve with rest, start tracking it, write down how long it lasts and what it keeps you from doing. Then bring that record to your neurologist because fatigue this profound deserves attention, not excuses. And here's the twist: while exhaustion can steal your strength, the next symptom goes a step further. It can steal your very sense of touch, leaving parts of your body numb or tingling without warning. And that leads us to one of the most common but easily ignored warning signs: numbness or tingling. Picture this: you're holding your phone, and suddenly your fingers feel like pins and needles, or a strange patch of your cheek goes completely numb for no reason. At first, you might shake it off, thinking you just slept in a weird position. But when these sensations come out of nowhere and linger, it could be one of the earliest signs of multiple sclerosis. Here's why: when the immune system attacks the myelin, the protective coating around your nerves, the signals traveling between your brain and body get scrambled or even blocked. That's why you might feel burning, prickling, or total numbness even when nothing is touching you. A study published in 2018 found that nearly 7 out of 10 people with MS reported numbness or tingling during their very first flare-up, proving how often this symptom shows up at the beginning. If you notice numbness that sticks around for more than a day, don't ignore it, log it, monitor when and where it happens, and bring it to your doctor. Early recognition can make all the difference in slowing down progression. But here's the chilling reality: when numbness sets in, it often paves the way for something even more disruptive: muscle weakness that can slowly strip away your independence. And when numbness lingers, it often leads to something far more alarming: muscle weakness. Imagine walking up a simple flight of stairs, and suddenly your legs feel like they're made of cement, or you try to pick up a grocery bag and your arms give out halfway. This isn't just being out of shape or tired, it's your nervous system struggling to send the right signals. In multiple sclerosis, damage to the myelin sheath interferes with how the brain communicates with your muscles, leaving movements sluggish or incomplete. But here's where it gets even more unsettling. Research in 2024 revealed that people with MS can lose 10% to 60% of their muscle strength, especially in the quadriceps, even when the nerves are bypassed and the muscles are stimulated directly. That means MS doesn't only weaken nerve signals, it actually changes the muscle fibers themselves. If you find that everyday movements feel unusually heavy, don't just chalk it up to age. Simple resistance training and early physical therapy can help maintain strength and mobility, giving you a better chance at preserving independence. And here's the eye-opening part: weakness doesn't just hit your arms and legs. For many, one of the very first signs appears in a place most people never expect: the eyes. And here's where things get truly unsettling: when MS starts to interfere with your vision. Imagine waking up one morning, looking at the clock across the room, and realizing it's suddenly blurry, or feeling a dull ache behind your eye that makes even simple eye movements painful. For many people, this is the first sign of MS, caused by a condition called optic neuritis, where the optic nerve becomes inflamed and struggles to send clear signals to the brain. That's why vision might blur, colors can look faded, or in severe cases, sight can temporarily vanish. Research shows this isn't rare about 1 in 4 people, with MS first notice optic neuritis as their initial symptom, and up to half of all patients experience it at some point. A 2024 study in the Journal of Neuro-Ophthalmology confirmed that optic neuritis is the single most common eye problem linked to MS, appearing in more than one-third of patients during their disease course. The good news is that early treatment with corticosteroids or other therapies can reduce inflammation and help restore vision, especially when caught quickly. So if you ever notice sudden blurring or pain behind your eye, don't wait it out. Get it checked immediately. Because if MS can disrupt your eyesight, just imagine what happens next when it starts interfering with something even more basic, the simple act of walking. And once vision begins to falter, another everyday ability often follows walking. Picture this: you're heading out the front door, and suddenly your legs feel stiff, heavy, almost like you're dragging weights with each step. You trip over the edge of a rug you've walked across 100 times before, and suddenly you're questioning your balance. This isn't clumsiness, it's MS disrupting the nerves that control balance, coordination, and strength. When those signals from the brain slow down or get blocked, even taking a short walk can feel like climbing a mountain. Research backs this up. A 2023 study found that around 60% of MS patients experience walking difficulties within the first 5 years after diagnosis. Scientists also discovered it's not just muscle weakness, it's changes in the brain regions that plan movement, meaning even the thought of walking can become harder over time. Here's a simple step you can take if you notice this. Don't wait until falls become frequent. Physical therapy and strength training, especially early on, can help retrain your body and preserve independence for longer. But here's what makes MS even more deceptive while it attacks your ability to move. It also works silently on something less visible but just as life-altering: your mind. And while MS weakens the body, it can quietly take aim at the mind as well. Imagine sitting at your desk, staring at a familiar document, and suddenly forgetting a word you've used 1,000 times, or walking into a room only to have no idea why you went there in the first place. These lapses aren't just senior moments. In multiple sclerosis, they're signs of cognitive changes caused by nerve damage in the brain. Research shows that these difficulties, slower thinking, memory gaps, and trouble focusing can appear even before the more obvious physical symptoms. A landmark study in the Lancet Neurology revealed that cognitive impairment is linked to gray matter atrophy in MS patients, meaning the very structure of the brain begins to change. Doctors often measure this with tests like the Symbol Digit Modalities Test, which tracks how quickly your brain processes information. If you find yourself struggling with memory or attention more than usual, don't brush it off. Bring it up to your neurologist early, because strategies like cognitive rehab, brain training exercises, and lifestyle changes can help slow the decline. And here's the unsettling part: just when your mind feels foggy, MS can add a dizzying twist, making the whole world feel like it's spinning out of control. And when the mind feels foggy, MS can throw in another curveball: dizziness and vertigo. Imagine standing up from your chair and suddenly the entire room tilts sideways, or trying to walk straight when it feels like the floor is moving under your feet. For people with multiple sclerosis, these aren't random moments of lightheadedness. They're a direct result of the disease attacking the brainstem, the area that controls balance and eye movements. When the protective myelin in this region is damaged, your body's GPS system essentially glitches, scrambling the signals that keep you upright and steady. Research highlights just how common this is. A 2020 study in BMC Neurology found that nearly half of MS patients experience vertigo or dizziness during the course of their disease, often during flare-ups. And this isn't just uncomfortable, it raises the risk of falls and serious injuries. If you notice the world spinning or your balance suddenly slipping away, take it seriously. Keep a record of when it happens and avoid driving or risky movements until you've seen your doctor. With treatment, many people can manage these episodes and lower their risk. But balance issues are only part of the hidden toll. MS can also disrupt something most of us take for granted every single day: control over the bladder. And just when you think MS couldn't invade more of your daily life, it begins to affect one of the most basic functions: control over the bladder. Imagine being out with friends, laughing at dinner, when suddenly you feel an overwhelming urge to rush to the bathroom, or worse, feeling like you can't empty your bladder completely no matter how many times you try. For many people with MS, this isn't a one-time annoyance, it becomes a constant frustration. Here's why: when MS damages the myelin along the nerves that connect the brain to the bladder, those signals get scrambled. Sometimes the bladder muscles become overactive, creating sudden urgency, and other times they're too weak, making it hard to fully release urine. Studies confirm how common this is. Research in Multiple Sclerosis journal showed that up to 8 out of 10 patients develop bladder dysfunction within 10 years of diagnosis. And beyond the embarrassment, untreated bladder problems can lead to infections, kidney issues, and a huge hit to daily confidence. If you notice sudden changes in frequency, urgency, or incomplete emptying, don't suffer in silence. Talk to your doctor. There are strategies, medications, and therapies that can help you regain control. But MS rarely stops at just one part of the body, because if the bladder is compromised, the bowels often aren't far behind. And when MS interferes with bladder control, it often creates another deeply personal challenge: bowel problems. Picture this: you're getting ready for work, but you can't leave the house because you're stuck dealing with severe constipation. Or worse, you're at a family gathering when sudden, unexpected urgency strikes, leaving you scrambling for a bathroom. These aren't just uncomfortable moments, they're the result of MS disrupting the nerves that link the brain to the digestive system. When those signals are blocked or misfired, the bowels stop working the way they should. Research makes it clear how widespread this is. A 2024 study published in PLOS1 found that nearly 3 out of 4 people with MS experience bowel dysfunction, yet almost half don't realize it's tied to their condition. Beyond the physical discomfort, these symptoms can cause social withdrawal, stress, and even depression. But here's what you can do. Don't be afraid to bring it up with your doctor. Treatments can include dietary changes, pelvic floor therapy, and in some cases, medications that restore balance to your digestive system. The earlier you address it, the less power it has over your daily life. And as difficult as bowel issues can be, MS doesn't stop there. It can even intrude on something most people never want to talk about: their sexual health. And when MS starts interfering with intimacy, it strikes at something deeply personal: sexual health. Imagine being with your partner, wanting closeness, but your body doesn't respond the way it used to. For some, arousal feels distant. For others, physical sensation is dulled, or climax becomes impossible. This isn't just in your head. MS damages the nerves that normally carry sexual signals between the brain, spinal cord, and body. That means the pathways that create desire, pleasure, and physical response can all be disrupted. But it goes deeper than nerves alone. Studies show that mood changes like depression and anxiety, which are common in MS, can also heavily affect intimacy. Research in BMC neurology found that around 70% of men and half of women with MS experience sexual dysfunction, proving just how widespread this hidden symptom really is. If this sounds familiar, know that you're not alone and it's not hopeless. Open communication with your partner, therapy, and in some cases, medication can help rebuild both the physical and emotional sides of intimacy. Ignoring it only creates distance, but addressing it can restore connection. And while intimacy struggles are painful, for many women with MS, there's yet another complication: when symptoms flare and worsen around their monthly cycle. And for women living with MS, there's another layer of struggle when symptoms flare up around their monthly cycle. Imagine already battling fatigue, pain, or balance issues, and then noticing they intensify right before or during your period. Tasks that were difficult suddenly feel impossible, as if the disease is hitting twice as hard. This isn't just coincidence. Research shows that hormonal shifts, especially drops in estrogen, can worsen inflammation in the nervous system, amplifying MS symptoms. A 2018 study in immunology found that about 7 out of 10 women with MS reported more severe flare-ups during the premenstrual phase, linking it directly to hormone-driven changes in the brain and nerves. While frustrating, there are ways to manage it. Tracking your cycle with an app or journal can help you spot patterns, and discussing them with your neurologist may allow for treatment adjustments to ease the toughest days. Some women find relief through lifestyle strategies like rest planning, nutrition, or stress management during vulnerable phases. Remember, it's not in your head, it's your body giving real signals that deserve attention. And now that we've uncovered 14 of the most telling signs of MS, the big question is, what should you do next if you recognize any of them in yourself or someone you love? So let's take a moment to pull this all together. We've uncovered 14 powerful warning signs of multiple sclerosis: tremors, electric shocks, chronic pain, fatigue, numbness, weakness, vision changes, walking difficulties, cognitive shifts, dizziness, bladder and bowel problems, sexual dysfunction, and even symptom flare-ups during the menstrual cycle. Each one may look small on its own, but together they tell a bigger story your body may be trying to warn you about. Remember, early recognition and proactive care can make a huge difference in slowing the disease and protecting your quality of life. If you've seen yourself in any of these symptoms, don't panic. Awareness is the first step, and seeking medical guidance is the next. You are not alone in this journey. That's why I want to encourage you to take action today. Share your experience in the comments, because your story might be the lifeline someone else desperately needs. And if this video brought you clarity, save it so you can come back whenever you need a reminder. Most importantly, hit subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss our future videos. We'll be sharing the latest medical insights, not just on MS, but also on kidney health, heart wellness, and other critical conditions that affect millions of families across America. Your health journey doesn't have to feel overwhelming. With knowledge, support, and the right tools, you can take back control and protect the life you love. Stay hopeful, stay informed, and remember, we're here to walk this path with you, one step at a time.